Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and earlier this evening, Affliction Warlock's Necrolord Malefic Wrath Drain Soul Decimating Bolt build was nerfed. I used the term nerf, but realistically the bug was fixed, which was buffing 3 Drain Souls, and the legendary Shard of Annihilation was lasting for 5 or 6 more seconds than it should have actually been. So that build has been essentially gutted, but there is still hope. We just shift gears and we shift to the other hidden build, Burn to Ashes, Destruction, also playing Necrolord. So tonight I want to talk to you guys a bit about those changes. Look at both the brief, the neutered version of Affliction, and then spend a bit of time looking at the Burn to Ashes Destro version, because we played it a little bit on a few days ago in the actual video, looking at the good builds. But we weren't playing the good legendary. We were playing the second best legendary, which is Madness. The best one is actually Odor, whatever. The Shawl, the Yimmer Jar, the thing I can't pronounce. The one that increases damage to your Havoc target. That is the one that you want to play, from what I've seen in testing. So a couple things before we get too far in the video. Number one, I've gotten a lot of questions about the weak aura in the center of my screen here in these videos for Dragonflight. That is indeed available for free on my Wago. If you want, !WA in Twitch chat, or hop on my Discord and put it in there in the add-ons channel. You can grab it directly from there. A link to the Wago and grab it directly from there, as well as the rest of my add-ons, which are also, well, profiles, add-ons, whatever, for free. Number two, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys for supporting Patreon. Thank you guys a million times. Legit. Truly appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link up here as well as down below. And with that being said, let's jump into the video, briefly looking at the nerfs to Aff, what it can do now damage-wise, and then look at the actual star of the video, Burn to Ashes Destruction. Alright, so briefly, for those who haven't seen the Warlock nerfs, I guess bug fixes that came in this evening, right here, number one, fixed an issue where Inquisitor's Gaze could pull enemies out of combat. This is a little eyeball here. There's a chance it would just randomly pull a pack in Mythic Plus. I didn't recommend playing it for the past few days. It should be working now. They fixed the Guillotine and Demonic Strength queuing, which is nice, but the big thing, Necrolord, Decimating Bolt, and Shard of Annihilation now correctly increase the damage of 1 Drain Soul. So previously, whenever you cast Decimating Bolt, it would obviously, for those that don't know, it would empower 3 Drain Souls instead of 1. It functioned like that at the beginning of Shadowlands, I think in like Alpha or Beta, and it was changed to 1 in Beta. Shard of Annihilation is the legendary effect that buffs Drain Soul, or whatever effect you're buffing with Decimating Bolt, by 100% crit strike chance and 50% crit strike damage increase. This effect was lasting like 6 or 7 seconds after your final drain resolve, whether it's, after the 3rd drain. So you could buff like 4.5 or 5 drains with this effect. So it wasn't even just Decimating Bolt, it was Shard of Annihilation as well. So I mean, I can just show you what it looks like in combat very briefly here. The actual damage output is unfortunately just nowhere near what it really should be, or I guess what it was. So brace yourselves. While the build is not bad, it is nowhere near what it was. But like I said, the good thing is that we have another build, which we'll look at in a minute here, that is similar in damage. So precasting a Haunt, Unstable Affliction, Agony, Corruption, Siphon Life, drain to 3 stacks right here. We're going to cast our PS, Trinket if we can, Decimating Bolt, I'll even pot, why not, Dark Glare, Rapture 3 times, 1, even got an Empowered Drain, sick, 3, big drain. Rapture, drain. You can already see the burst damage is not as high as it was before. We're hitting 40k, 35k, 40k, we're hitting not even 30k at this point. Rapture again, drain one more time. Refresh the UA here. Now, if you look at the breakdown, it's still a large portion of it, being about 39-ish roughly. I think it was about 45 or 46 in like other pre-nerf versions of this. And when you get deep into Execute, it still will deal a lot of damage. It'll still deal the same amount it was dealing like per drain. It's just 1 drain and not 3 drains. So it, unfortunately, while you can still play this build in single target, I wouldn't fault somebody that really enjoys the build. Keep playing it, it's fine, but it's just nowhere near as good as it was before. Even with the right RNG, getting Nightfall procs on your Drain Souls and things, just the damage is just not there. We're maintaining 22.5k here roughly. Spoilers ahead, the Burn to Ashes build of Destro can do a good bit more than that. So we'll catch our buff here, drain again. I'll try and wait for this next dump window coming up here, but I mean, you can already tell the damage is nowhere near as good as it used to be. Yeah, catch a Siphon Life here. We're gonna catch our Haunt in a second roughly. Rapture, catch our Haunt, UA, dump this drain, why not? Can drain again. We have a PS window coming up in a second here. We'll Rapture, catch the Corruption, catch the Agony, catch the Siphon Life, drain to refresh here, Rapture to refresh, PS. Probably should have waited a second there, but it's fine. We can Bolt, Haunt, Rapture, catch the Corruption, a buff drain, even better. There we go, big drain. And pulling up the actual breakdown here, we're sitting at, I mean, 40%, less than 40%. We're hard 45 plus here usually. So you can tell the difference in what our damage is looking like. We can even wait for Dark Glare here, which is coming around in, I don't know, about 20-ish seconds roughly. This dummy is at about 65%, which means, I mean, we're getting into like a decent bit of extra bonus damage range. Keep in mind, Drain Soul's damage is doubled when a mob is below 20% health, so like, you still get those big drains coming off. Just, you know, we're about, well, 40-ish% off of that, but if you are looking for that strong execute profile in single target, it will still bring that theoretically. Catch our UA here, we'll catch this, we'll PS, Trinket, Decimating Bolt, Dark Glare, Big Rapture, Drain, and we're sitting at sub 40%. So while the build does have a lot of raw Drain Soul value still, it's still fine, it's still solid. Our biggest tick was for 41k. That's easily 95k per tick in execute. You're just getting 1 Drain Soul and not 3 empowered by Decimating Bolt or 4 to 4.5 empowered by Shard of Annihilation. So is the build still good? Yes, but realistically, this build has been better in single target than Night Fae Aff for, I think, a couple, like 2 patches now, but no one's really played it because you're juggling 10 different effects versus juggling 2. You're juggling Shadow's Embrace, you're juggling Agony, Corruption, Siphon Life, Pent-Up Singularity, Haunt, Shadow's Embrace, Malefic Wrath, Rapture windows, like 10 different effects basically, versus just casting, you know, Soul Rot and PS every minute as Night Fae. So if you're looking at this build, was seeing some play in Mythic Plus, it was very, very good. I would assume if you're playing Aff Mythic Plus, you're shifting back to Night Fae, playing probably either like Wilfrid's with Corrupting Leer for like, you know, really fast sub 1 minute Dark Lair meme build with Grim Reach, or you're playing Wrath of Consumption, or maybe even just playing Agony Shard Gen. But for the most part, Necrolord Aff is good, but to me, I'm not going to play it anymore pre-patch. The build I am going to play is Burn to Ashes Destro. Let's take a look at that. So for those of you who enjoy playing more than one spec of Warlock, I'm not calling anybody out here, I'm just being honest. Burn to Ashes Destro is still very good. It might not be necessarily as strong as Necrolord Affliction in single target when it comes to like being execute range, but this build is still very strong. And I don't think it'll be nerfed or bug fixed. So the synergy with this build revolves around Roaring Blaze, which has been around for a long time. It's a talent in Dragonflight. Roaring Blaze, Decimating Bolt, which is right here. Shard of Annihilation, our legendary for Necrolord. We are playing Necrolord. Ashen Remains is an actual talent here, so we don't play the Conduit. The big thing, though, is that we are playing Burn to Ashes. Chaos Bolt and Rain of Fire increase the damage of next 2 incinerates by 30%, and it stacks 4 times. So, to clarify, it is not a 120% damage amp on 1 incinerate. It is 4 individual stacks of 30%. So, 1 Chaos Bolt or 1 Rain of Fire will give you 2 buffed Incinerate casts. Incinerate is fire damage, so it's increased by Roaring Blaze. It's increased by Decimating Bolt. It's increased by Shard of Annihilation. This build hits exceptionally hard with Incinerates. And the cool thing is that for a while I was playing Madness, the Legendary. I'd like dump 2 Chaos Bolts, Conflagrate, I'd cast some Incinerates and go from there. The damage was fine. But we are playing instead, oh dear, Odar, whatever this thing's called, Hodar. Enemies marked by your Havoc take 25% increased damage from your single target spells. And that Havoc also is now increased by 3 additional seconds with Pandemonium. So it gives you 3 more seconds of 25% increased damage on a target. Now, you might be saying, okay, what do I do in patchwork settings though, in a single target setting? Thankfully, even on a single target setting, let's say this dummy's not even here, right? This is not even here. Even putting Havoc on a target like this, for example, I Havoc, I cast Conflagrate, it hits for 6,700 damage. When this Havoc falls, it's going to hit for less. Like, the Havoc is, you can apply it in single target. It's still working. You don't have to cleave 2 targets. Put up your Havoc, hit your Havoc target, and it will still give you 25% increased damage. The effect is very odd. It's been close to being a good single target legendary for almost all of Shadowlands. Just like Cinders beat it, Madness beat it by a little bit every single patch, but it's still a very solid option. So Decimating Bolt empowers Incinerates, Burn to Ashes, Roaring Blaze, Shard Annihilation, Oh Dear, all of that. We're playing Plague Divisor, Kevin's Oozling, all that. Combusting Engine, Infernal Brand, and this thing. Realistically, if you're in a two target cleave setting, you play this, no questions asked. You cleave Havoc damage, you probably replace this thing, it doesn't do anything really at all. Ashes Remains is a talent, so you just play, well, honestly, the Conduit. You skip it and play the talent, it's fine. So, now, we were maintaining around 22,000-ish damage, like a K DPS, playing Affliction. I don't know, a few minutes ago here. A few minutes ago. I won't even grab a flask for this one, actually. I don't know if I had a flask on for the Aff one, but the damage here with this build is much more impressive. You're not ripping off massive Drain Souls, you're just ripping off massive, well, Incinerates as well. So the opener that I've been following might change a bit. We'll see where it goes. Havoc is baseline 15 seconds now, which means that you can cast it for nearly your entire dump window with the Cloak on. So, and Pandemonium, obviously, increasing Havoc duration, right? So the big thing, I will pre-cast Decimating Bolts right here. Precast Bolt into an Immolate. I've had an aggressive. Drop the Rock. Conflagrate. Trinket if you want. Channel Demon Fire. Havoc. Chaos Bolt. Chaos Bolt. Watch the Incinerates. Here's one Incinerate. 93k. 102k. 91k. Havoc is still up, by the way. Still dumping more bolts here. Still casting Channel Demon Fires. Look at our burst damage. 32k. I assume we went even higher than that. Wasn't really looking. This build maintains a surprisingly consistent amount of damage. The one thing that is annoying with this build is look at my actual Immolate application here and look at my Channel Demon Fire. There's a bug with Raging Demon Fire that essentially requires you to recast your Immolate from time to time, even when the effect is, well, you know, Immolate is still active. Decimating Bolt, Havoc, Conflagrate, launch some Incinerates. 1, 98k. 2, 94k. 3, 93k. We're maintaining nearly 30,000 DPS, which is about 7k. We're dropping off a bit here, but about even still right now 5k more than the Affliction build. I don't have a flask on either, and I believe the Aff build dropped this target in health faster than the other one did here too. So the cool thing is that you have Havoc for basically every single Decimating Bolt window. The odd thing is that depending on if you precast it or not and where you cast it, you might have to hold it for a little bit, but holding it for the 25% increase in Incinerate damage is certainly worthwhile. The big thing, just make sure your Incinerates are buffed by Roaring Blaze by conflagrating beforehand. You can cast your CDFs on cooldown for the most part. Another dump window again here. Basically, I'll launch this, cast my Decimating Bolt, cast my Havoc, put up my Roaring Blaze, cast a Chaos Bolt, why not? Incinerate, 106, 94, 104k. Pull up our damage breakdown here. We're sitting at 43% Incinerate damage. Chaos Bolt being 19.8%. If I keep going here, now I will say this has been a bit of a lower bolt, I'd say damage-wise than usual. If I keep going here, we'll try and get this dummy to like a pretty low health pool overall. I also AFK'd for a minute, and we're still maintaining higher DPS than the Aff build is now, FYI. I want to see how big of an Incinerate we can get with this mob being at basically 0 health. So, launch some bolts here. We can just cast our Decimating Bolt right now because we basically have that and have it back up. So we'll cast this, we'll cast our Havoc, Conflagrate, launch some bolts here again. 1, or some Incinerates again. 1, 101k. 2, 106k. 3 for 68k. I think Roaring Blaze fell. Chaos Bolts. I want to get this thing as low as possible so my Infernal can get it even lower and finish the job off here. The funny thing is, we're maintaining 23k, which after AFKing for probably half a minute, looking at meters or whatever, it's still more than Affliction was maintaining, which is pretty wild. So we have a Rock coming up in about 6 here. We'll drop it on cooldown. Let's Chaos Bolt. We'll Conflagrate for this CDF. Put the Rock down. And this thing should probably drop to damn near 0% in about 10 seconds. We've got Decimating Bolt coming up in 6 and Havoc in about, well, basically now. It's a bit higher than I thought. That's okay. Launch a couple bolts here. Bolt. We'll re-immolate for a CDF. Incinerate once. We'll hold it for a second here. Channel Demon Fire. Put this up. Havoc. We'll launch a bolt. Why not? Hit our pot. Hit our trinket. One more bolt for the road. Why not? Conflagrate. Incinerate. Incinerate. And Incinerate. 151k. 150k. and 140k. My record on stream was 179,000 damage, I think, from one Incinerate. It might not be, you know, a Drain Soul hitting for 190k per tick, but these Incinerates still crushed. This, honestly, overall, I'm literally AFK again, and we're still 2k ahead of where AF was. Incinerate is 43% of our damage at a... Chaos Bolt is 18.5. Our hardest hitting Chaos Bolt was 44,000 damage. Our hardest hitting Incinerate, literally 3.5 times, something like that, harder at 151,000. The rotation is very simple. You literally just cast your Chaos Bolts to stack Burn to Ashes once again. Make sure you're casting CDF on cooldown. The big thing, just make sure you put up your Havoc to buff every single Decimating Bolt. Decimating Bolt goes up, Havoc goes up. Make sure you have Immolate up. Make sure you have Burn to Ashes stacks rolling. The big thing, Havoc's up, Decimating Bolt stacks are up, cast your Incinerates. Incinerate, Incinerate, Incinerate. We're still maintaining more than AF was. That's the crazy thing. This build is much, much easier to play. Just buff Incinerates, cast Decimating Bolts on cooldown, cast CDF on cooldown, cast Chaos Bolts. You're not even playing Madness. You don't have to cast, you know, you don't have to cast Chaos Bolts back to back. Cast them when you get them. Do whatever you want. And this build's utterly insane in Havoc cleave. Those Incinerates, they'll cleave nearly the same amount with Duplicitous Havoc, like put it as a conduit. With the Cloak on, Duplicitous, your 2-target cleave with this build is utterly insane. Necrolord Destro Burn to Ashes, a personal favorite of mine. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I have to say, I am a little disappointed that, you know, well, okay, let's be honest. Necrolord Affliction with Drain Soul, all that stuff, it was cool. We did a lot of damage, but I'm gonna be honest, the playstyle was fun, but I want to enjoy pre-patch, and it's cool, but I think I'm gonna enjoy it more playing Burn to Ashes Destro, which I don't think it's gonna get nerfed, because Burn to Ashes Destro, the interaction there is more of a Dragonflight ability, like Burn to Ashes and Roaring Blaze and things like that, which are part of the talent tree, interacting with a Shadowlands ability, being Decimating Bolt and all the effects from Incinerate, for Incinerate there. The Necrolord build had literally been around since Dragonflight, or since Shadowlands Alpha. There were no Dragonflight powers interacting with the build, barring the Nightfall change, which is very minor for the build overall. It was literally just the build, like the actual ability was bugged, and they fixed the bug. There's no, like, you know, overlapping powers or synergy there. It was just, hey, it was bugged. Theoretically, it's the same build you had for a while once the bug's been fixed. Now the bug's been fixed, I guess. So yeah, either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If I missed anything in this video or you have any questions, drop them down below in the comment section. I will be sure to get back to you. I should have a link to the actual Destro Burn to Ashes build down there as well in the description if you want. If I don't, put a comment, and I'll drop it there when I wake up in the morning. With that being said, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'll support. Like and share the video. Sub if you'd like. It helps the channel a ton. And I also want to give one huge final shout out to my patrons. Once again, thank you guys for a million times for support on Patreon. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, link up here as well as down below in the description. Oh, and the week wars everything in the video are also all for free on my Wago. If you want, !WA in Twitch chat, or jump in the Discord, and they are there for you guys. Links down below. So, all that being said, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.